Welcome to EdTechX Stories. My name is Benjamin Vedrenne-Cloquet. I'm CEO and co-founder of EdTechX Holdings and partner at Ibis Capital. EdTechX Stories is a short weekly interaction with CEOs, founders, investors, and innovators shaping and making the future of education and work. So welcome to EdTechX Stories, and I hope you enjoy our next session. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Toy, and I was born a little while ago, back in '67 in Manhattan, in New York, United States. I currently live in London here, where I'm serving as the CEO of Memrise. And I'm here to talk about AI and how it can be used to impact language learning.
Steve Toy, welcome. Welcome to EdTechX Stories. Before we talk about Memrise, your business, let me start with a personal question. How did you end up in that position? Is there a defining someone or defining moment in your life that led you to be an EdTech CEO?
Yeah, I think it's an amalgamation of many things, but probably the one thing that is most significant is way back when I was first starting my professional career and looking to give back in some way, shape, or form. My community time, I was trying to figure out what it was I was going to do to give back. And I ran across a woman named Taylor Willingham, who was running a program in Silicon Valley called the Reading Program, which was a program that helped adults who, for whatever reason, didn't know how to read, help them become literate. And in her case as to why what she did was so important, she made the modern day argument that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him to fish, you feed him for life. And literacy is the modern day equivalent of fishing. You can't do anything unless you know how to read. And that really kind of spoke to me. And I have been involved with adult literacy ever since, starting with tutoring somebody myself to being on the boards of some of the biggest literacy programs out there. And that's probably the biggest significant event that led me to EdTech.
Okay, very good. Thank you for this. Tell us a little bit more about Memrise and the origin of the company. There is a fascinating story of one of the co-founder, Ed Cooke, who is a grandmaster of memory, I think.
Indeed, he was. Yes, Ed Cooke was a grandmaster of memory, and not only did he win many contests, including one of the biggest in the United States, he then helped teach Joshua Foer, the New York Times columnist, how to win at memory contest, and he won the event the following year and wrote the book Moonwalking with Einstein. And Ed and Ben put those techniques to work at Memrise for all kinds of memorization challenges, but eventually settled on language and formed an app that became the best app of 2017 in the Google world, and has been growing ever since. And we are now leapfrogging to the next stage of our development here, which is pretty exciting.
And just for our audience, to be a grandmaster of memory, you have to prove that you can memorize 1,000 random digits in an hour, memorize the order of 10 decks of cards in an hour, and memorize the order of one deck of cards in under 2 minutes. So it's quite a feat.
Yes.
Um, what's the science and the technology behind Memrise? Can you tell us why Memrise is different and unique compared to other digital, learning language platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest way to understand what we do is to relate it to something that we all kind of know deep in our bones, which is the best way to learn a language is to go in country and speak the language. And the reason that that's the best way is because you're learning words, but then you're immersed in hearing those words in real life at different speeds, at different times, in different contexts. And then you're forced to say those words if you want to get a cup of coffee or a sandwich. And we just boil that down to learn, immerse, communicate. Memrise, historically, as well as Duolingo and Babbel and Busuu and all the others, we've got the learn part down pretty well. But Memrise has always been pursuing the immerse and communicate legs of the pedagogic stool. And we have done exactly that by getting an overwhelming amount of immersive content from the world into our app and using technologies like GPT-3 to make conversations comfortable and effective as a way of practicing a language.
And so tell us a little bit about TPT-3 and also, the two big topics in EdTech, I guess, those days are social learning and Eduverse or, education in the metaverse. And I wanted to understand where Memrise fits in all this.
Yeah, so on the GPT-3 side of things, which, as you know and most know, is a large language model that has been trained on virtually all the content of the internet and can therefore construct things to say on almost any topic by predicting what the next logical word will be. We are using it to allow conversations that we sort of channel into different, what we call missions. For example, if you're learning French and you're getting ready to go to Paris and you know that every day you're going to want to get a cup of coffee, we can say, go practice getting a cup of coffee in Paris. And you'll walk into a store and GPT-3 will play the part of the barista and say, how are you doing? And, what can I get you? Are you okay? You right? How you doing today? All kinds of ways you can be greeted. And your job is to go through that conversation, which is different every time, and walk out with a cup of coffee. And so that is what is possible by large language models like GPT-3 and what we have now put into our product and gives us the communicate leg of the Learn, Immerse, Communicate pedagogic stool.
And all this is AI powered.
Yes, absolutely. GPT-3 is a tool that is made by OpenAI. And so they're very, very advanced AI data scientists and programmers and engineers built the engine. And we decided what purpose we were going to apply the power of this engine to. In our case, practicing learning a language.
And as the CEO of the company, when you think of Memrise 2030, for example, what are you the most excited about? What's the trajectory?
I think one of the things that is most exciting is that heretofore, we and every other education technology and company needed to make content to help people learn a language or learn lots of things because we need to have content that matches the language that people have learned. So naturally, courses, schools and programs teach a syllabus. You're going to learn these words first, second, and third. And therefore, we'll make video content that is understandable based on these words that you learned first, second, and third. And we've taken a different approach saying, learn words in whatever order you want to. And we will go and examine the content that's out there in the world on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And when we know what words you've learned thus far, in whatever order, and we know that there's a video that has a good overlap of the words you know with the video that is out in the world, we can surface that for you and say, you have a chance of understanding this content. It's almost like we can put people in Madrid or Paris or Rome and immerse them, but with one extra thing. We can filter what they're immersed in by the words that they know. And that's, in academic terms, it's called comprehensible input, but it is super effective in helping people learn much more quickly because they're learning things they already know.
How many users of the app of Memrise are there in the world right now?
65 million at last count, probably a little bit more than that, but 65 million we passed a few months ago, so growing quite nicely.
Well, congrats on this. Steve, I suppose you're a lifelong learner.
Yeah, indeed.
What is the latest thing you learned?
At the moment in Memrise, I'm doing both French and Spanish. And so that's what's happening in the app for lots of reasons, not the least of which I love both countries and really enjoy that. Plus, we're doing a lot of our early work on Immerse and Communicate in those languages. And then I'm forever intrigued by all of the things that are being built in the AI space, all the APIs that big companies like Microsoft, IBM, Google are making, and smaller companies are making in a field of areas. So I constantly stretch my Python skills to see what APIs I can bang on and send data up and what comes back. And so you can say I'm learning all about all the AI APIs that exist in the world as fast as I can consume it.
Okay, well, Steve, I'll tell you what. Let's take an appointment. Let's do this interview in French in 2 years and see how you've done.
Sounds perfect.
We're getting to the next part of the interview, which is the rapid fire question. You don't have to think, you just have to answer by A or B. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Learn or remember?
Learn.
Degree or skills?
Skills.
State school or private school?
State school.
Teacher or technology?
Technology.
Remote work or every day in the office?
Every day in the office.
Profit or impact?
Impact.
Just a question, what is impact for you?
In our world, it is helping people acquire a language. In my adult literacy world, it is the number of people that we deliver from illiteracy.
Mhm. Finally, one last question, which is not A or B. How do you say hello in Icelandic?
Ooh, I should know this because I was in Iceland in May and we're playing with that, but I'm afraid I don't know it right now.
It's actually hello.
Oh, there you go.
Um, if you had to nominate someone else, a CEO, founder, and investor who you think is, changing education for good, who would that be? And maybe we can invite him next time.
Yeah, I think that Rupert Hillier, who is a founder and CTO of LearnLight, is an impressive individual. And he's doing fascinating things in the area of EdTech. And I think you'd enjoy talking to him.
Okay, we know of Rupert, so we'll contact him for sure. Finally, if you had one prediction to make for the industry, for the edtech industry, what would that be?
I think it would be that the world's content will become more and more important in the learning journey, and creating content specifically for the learning journey will become less and less prevalent.
Okay, so that means you invest today in content or you partner with content providers?
No, right now, today, we figure out how to take the content, almost infinite content that's out there in the world today, and connect it to users' learning journey, because some people are interested in football, and some people are interested in cooking, and some people are interested in documentary, and nobody is all interested in the very same thing.
Very good. Steve Toy, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. This was Steve Toy for EdTechX Stories.
Thanks, Benjamin. Appreciate it.